the consumer's looking at the shelf, they just see different brands there. It's just jars and labels, but if they really knew the story behind it all, whereas other brands have been bought and sold so many times you don't know who owns them or where they're being made. But Best Maid's made right here in Fort Worth, and it's the same family that's been doing it for 86 years now, so we're going to make it to 100 and beyond. We're one of the only vertically integrated pickle companies really left in North America. The larger brands have begun to source everything, and so we think it's important to control from the seed to the jar.
When you know that you manage the process of buying the seed and all of the steps that we take throughout the plant to ensure quality, when that product finally comes to the point that it's in the jar, we have an incredible product.
The cucumbers come into Fort Worth from the tank yard, and they go into large holding tanks where they're desalted and prepared to be packed and become pickles. At times, depending on the product, we'll add ingredients by hand. We'll either bring the cucumber in whole, we'll slice it, or we'll spear it. And then we'll bring it to the production line. It will go into a surge tank, which is then fed into the filler. The filler that we have vibrates to spread the pickles out, and they drop into the jar. From the filler, the jars proceed down the line to a topping area where we actually hand top all of the jars to make sure that the customer gets a full jar every time. From the topping table, we'll proceed to the brining area. The pickle actually takes on the flavor of that brine that we put into the jar. It proceeds down the line to the capper, where we steam cap and pull a vacuum on the jar to guarantee freshness. It goes down the line to a rinser where the jar is washed off, and it will proceed into the labeler. After the labeler, we put a code date on there to guarantee freshness and to show when we actually ran the product. It proceeds down the line into the case packer, where it returns to the very case that it was shipped in on.
They get cased and stacked on the pallets and back into our warehouse ready for shipment. There's also a fresh pack pickle, which is a cucumber straight from the field that comes straight to the factory, and it's cooked in the jar. So we'll slice it, leave it whole, or spear it, and it's cooked in the jar. And you typically get a little bit of a fresher flavor on those. People will say, I knew that brand, but I didn't know it was a local, Fort Worth company or a family brand, but I've been eating Best Maid my whole life. So it's nice to hear those kind of comments from people. It's different than the other pickle. It's a Texas-grown product, and so people respond to that.
I hope that when people pick up a jar of Best Maid and take it home, they're shocked at what great flavor we have and what great crunch, and they just can't put the jar away.